Oh, Sookie now. Hell yeah. I know my dogs are watching, and if you ain't, I know you will be. And if you are watching and you ain't my dog yet, you will be. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Swede. I'm going to help you get busy living. Just return.
I do not know what's happening, guys. Swede is stuck, but I am Diana, and here I am. I am now running this podcast until Swede unsticks himself. He was definitely having a technical issue before we started, but don't make me say Suki now. I can't do it. I can't do it convincingly. But I'm so happy you're here. Let me just tell you that I can see that people are here, but I don't know who you are until you say hello in the comment box. So I see you, Kelly. I know he's frozen. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to unfreeze him. I think he's gonna work his way back in. But we are here and we can hang out. Hey, Scott. Swede's making his way back into the studio.
What happened there?
I don't know. What happened to you?
All of a sudden it was like, oops, something went wrong. Did you even come in? What up, Kelly? What up, Scooty Wells in the house? I don't know what happened there. I don't know what was up with that.
Like, technical difficulties. It's just another
shit,
reminder
Parker's in the house.
Hey, it's just another reminder that we're doing this completely live, and stuff like this is going to happen, and it just goes to show you that we have not recorded this superior professionalism that you see here.
Are you switching it up on me? How you like me now?
All right, so go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Oh, yeah?
Go ahead and say. All right,
Jason Parker, what's up, dog? Long time no speak. How you doing? All right, I like you right where you are. I like the fact that you're here. I'm so thankful for you being here, D-Rex. I really am. I'll never, ever take you for granted. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate that you're walking this journey with me. So you ready to get busy living one more time?
Absolutely. Always. And I'm so happy to see you guys that are here today. We have a couple things we want to talk about with you. Hey, I don't want to be on this side of the screen. I think you should be on this side of the screen. Where were we? Where were we last week? You want to discuss something? Hey, before you do, let me show you this. That is where we were.
The baselines of your graphics are always make me want to beatbox. I can't help it. But yeah, I'll tell you what. I got so much love in my heart for Destin, Florida, and all the people there. It's a unique slice of heaven. I'm telling you. First of all, the beaches are beautiful, and so that discovery was made a long time ago. But for me, the discovery was made back in the late 1990s. I wasn't there a couple months before Heather and Lyric showed up, and what a wonderful place to raise a daughter. I've got such an awesome circle of friends, people that I've met since I've moved down there. And so raising Lyric there for 15 years, or actually I lived there for over 16 years. And then being gone for the past 7 years and going back was, I'm still, honestly, my skin is still crawling from it. Still crawling. Speaking of which, both Jason and Scooty Wells are people that I met while living in Destin.
Yeah, and I got to meet Scott for the first time in person there. We actually had done an entire podcast together, and I hadn't met him in person, so that was a real treat. So nice to meet you, Scott, and your whole wonderful family. I got to meet all sorts of characters on this trip because if you know Swede, he knows characters. Oh, you know what? I think this is a good time because I always wanted you to do this. I would like you to try to name 10 of your friends that have crazy nicknames because everybody has crazy nicknames. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, go.
Well, I got the Borello Dome, the Blazing Asian, aka B Korean, Brian Borello. I got Scooty the Wolf Wells. I got these nuts, Darren. I got my Boogie. I got Key Rod. Shit, I got J Brown, the LDB. I got D Rex. I got obviously. I kind of like Cowboy Kelly. Like she's raw. Or Cowgirl Kelly. But that's your nickname. How did I get 10? I mean, those are
No,
just
you
the
got
ones that
9. You
I
got
got
9. I
9.
know, but I know you have way more than that.
I mean, if you looked at my phone, I mean, like what? Oh, Angel the Fertile Turtle. I just got I got a chance to kick it with Angel. Um, Iron Myron, Speedy Wells, good call. Iron Myron. Yeah, I don't
Smiles.
know. Smiles, but you know what? To be honest with you, so I don't remember him introducing himself as TJ Smiley, but after a while, I got into an argument with somebody, and an argument, but just like a little bicker session at the bar, joking around one day about him, and I was like, Smiles, tell him what your nickname is, and he's like TJ, and I was like, no, man, the nickname everybody calls you. He's like TJ Smiley. I'm like, no, it's Smiles. He's like, well, no, sweetie, you call me Smiles. I thought everybody called you that. Apparently, he was TJ Smiley, which he definitely is, a smiling motherfucker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out.
And I think now I call them Smiles too. In fact, I changed any one of your friends. I've changed their number in my phone to their nickname, and now my phone looks like yours. And I even
Hell
changed
yeah.
Pasha's name to T Legs.
Uh-oh.
so, so my phone's starting to look crazy like yours. But
So
I got to
just
meet
don't.
all these characters, and I got to see this beautiful place that just blew my mind with absolute natural beauty. And you forgot Shoy Boy.
I didn't even mention. I was about to say I didn't even mention Schwoy Boy. I didn't mention Jigga J.
I
Like
know.
the list
It's so
goes
easy
on.
to, there's too many nicknames.
Well, no, the thing is that there are too many friends, and most of them have some sort of. You're the first person ever called me out about that. I don't remember anybody else ever like making that known. But yeah, man, I guess that has been a hobby of mine. But a lot. We all nickname each other. It probably comes from playing football, obviously, or honestly, like when you're on a football team, man, everybody's called by their last name or their nickname. So like like I know Biz. Everybody calls him Biz. Like Robert Burns, what do you get biz out of that one? Other than if you ever met him, he means business. Like he's funny, he's hilarious, he's chill, but he definitely means business. You know what I mean? So like, yeah. So Scooty says it's another symptom of the rapper's Tourette's. I remember he told that story a couple of podcasts ago. But no, the thing about Destin, I think you could probably, talk for hours, about it. The video that I have of you getting out of the car when we first got there, just to go down and grab some sand, and you like looked at me like you were so puzzled, like this is not sand. I grew up on Lake Erie, that's sand. And it
Yeah,
was
it was
just
like,
like it was.
it was like sugar. Like you said, it was like white sugar.
Yes, and that's just Destination 3. So for those of you that don't know, Destination 3, we got 52 more to go. Okay, the Get Busy Living Project 55 is 55 months in a row on at least one epic adventure every month. And the where this comes from is before I got injured, I was on this streak that I didn't set out to get on. I just happened to stumble upon it. I noticed one day when talking with friends or girls that I was talking with about the fact that I'd been on, man, they were like, sweet, you've been gone. Like, it seems like you're always gone. Where you been going? And I was like, yeah, I've been here. And I like added it up, and I was already over a year of every single month going somewhere. And
No. I think we have another frozen moment. So what he's yeah, we're frozen again. Okay, so Project 55 is what we're calling it, and we really hope that all of you will end up on one of these trips for Project 55. This is where we're going to be traveling for 55 months in a row to beat his previous streak from before he got injured. So I know it's totally possible. I know that there is no other option but to go on all of these trips. They are happening. Nothing can stop Swede. It's gonna be pretty epic. And what we hope is that we can inspire you to come along on some of these trips and have your mind blown with the beauty of the space, the beauty of the people, and just expand your mind in different ways. I'm going to let Swede come back into the studio here, but I'll tell you a little bit about how Destin affected me. I was surprised just how beautiful it was. I've been to Costa Rica, I've been to Hawaii, and I've never seen such a gorgeous beach. It was seriously, it kind of tested my limits of what I thought Earth could look like. And I'm completely serious. It was so beautiful. And I can't wait to go back sometime when the weather is warm and really experience it for what it is, because it's technically winter there right now. And we have a couple trips coming up. The one at the end of December, the New Year's Eve, or is it New Year's Day podcast, is going to be in Erie, Pennsylvania, our beloved hometown. And every time somebody says Erie, we got to show that. So we're going to be in Erie. So I'm really hoping that some of our dear old friends are going to catch up with us on New Year's Eve for the Get Bizzy Livin. I guess we're going to get together. So I'm really excited to see some of you from Erie. And then in January, well, you know what? I'm going to let Swede come back in the studio and tell you about all the cool stuff we have coming up in the beginning of the year. So what we're calling the beginning of the year is season 1 of this podcast. What we've been doing is we're considering to be the pre-season. And I'm not sure. I'm looking at all these technical difficulties going on. I'm not sure if it's me that's the problem or Swede that's the problem, but I'm going to assume that it's Swede, and I'm just going to continue to discuss. There you are.
Technical
What
difficulty.
is?
I'm on
Yeah.
my difficult. I don't know.
All right, so we're just going to continue, but I was talking about Project 55 and where we're going, and how season 1's going to be pretty epic. But I didn't say where we're going in January or February. If you'd like to say it or keep it as a teaser, it's up to you.
Well, January, proud to say, is going to be in Erie. We're going to kick off season 1 of the Get Bizzy Livin podcast, official seasons, where we'll be bringing professionals to help us illustrate the points that we're trying to make to you guys, and how you can learn how to get busy living with us, along with all kinds of other more transparent and professional aspects of the podcast itself. That will be Erie, Pennsylvania for January. And then in February, I'm happy to say that we're going to be collaborating again with High Country Adaptive Sports, the people that got me on the Grand Canyon mountain biking trails. But this time they're going to get me in the ski slopes. So I'm pretty excited about that. That will be so this is December's month 4, January is month 5, and then February is month 6. And then in March is my birthday. I'm hoping you guys will surprise me.
Hey, see if you can flip your camera so we're the same size. Otherwise, I look giant. This is your podcast.
Looks like is in there. Is it better if I go like this?
I don't know. Hey, look who's here.
That is that.
All right, there you go. That looks right. All right. Shoy Boy being one of the characters that I met on this trip. Someone who, as a young person, used to harvest gators. And that's the kind of characters you can meet on these trips. So I found that very interesting.
I'm glad that you're mentioning that, because the goal is to not go on wild adventures around the world. The goal is to go and see the people that contributed to me having a second lease on life.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go on some wild places around the world, because I've got friends all over. And Bali, you're on the map. Melbourne, Sydney, you're on the map. I've got people in Europe. Sweden, you're on the map. Scooty Wells' family has been so sweet to me. Like, I've had only just a couple conversations via chat with them, but they've always, been so supportive. For me to sit here and try to name off all the places is a few dollars. But just know that we've got 52 more months, and the goal is to come and see you and hand deliver the hugs that you deserve for saving my life. And my goal, D-Rex, is to have the folks that have come on month 1 and 2, and then joined us on month 3 to catch the wind, and maybe join us on 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. And over time, I'm hoping that this thing will pick up momentum and build steam. And like I've said already once, and you're going to hear this many, many times between now and the time we throw the huge, huge party, that I intend to pass a microphone around the stadium, and I want everyone to tell their stories about how they got involved with the Get Busy Living project and who they've been able to help. And I can't wait to have people walking across the stage, walking,
Mhm.
people that have been able to walk without the stem cell therapies that we're pursuing, walking across stage, and talking about, all the people that they've met in the process.
I think that's an important thing to mention right now is all the people we're going to help. And I think that's important that we talk about what we're trying to do with season one that officially starts in January for us. What's our big picture here, And helping people, yes, but we're also we want to be helping the people who watch this podcast. We want to help them help themselves. And that's what's going to be so fun about this is we're all going to be growing and learning together. It's going to be a super fun way to do this.
Yes, I envision a community that in the beginning is just a bunch of people that don't believe it's possible. That they can get busy living the way that they've witnessed other people get busy living. You see people on TV and you think that they're large, and then you see them in person and you realize they're actually way smaller than you are, and they smell. Like, man, we all are given this wonderful gift of life, and we all have maybe not equal abilities, and we might not all have equal opportunities, but we all have one life. So in that case, we all have an equal opportunity to make the most of it. So the big picture is that I want to channel the generosity and the collective love and will and intention that saved my life, and draw that out of those of you that have already demonstrated the ability to offer that, and show you guys how powerful that can be, so that it's not just myself that benefits from all that energy, but it's amplified, so that not only are we going to help people that need help the way that I need help, so that it's a philanthropy type of thing, but I also want to turn portions of the proceeds around and put that towards getting those of you that are in the audience on these epic adventures with us, so that you can get busy living with us. And not only do I want you to be able to experience the adventures, but I want you to experience the mindset change that comes along with believing in yourself and living a deliberate and intentional life. You know what I mean, D Rex, by deliberate and intentional and purpose?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people are letting life happen to them. And what I mean by that is they're not choosing anything. They just say, whatever life's going to hand me. And that is no way to live because nothing will happen for you because nothing happens for you. You have to make it happen. You have to make choices. And once you start even making the smallest choices in your life and it builds and you're making more choices in your life, you realize you actually have a lot of control. Of course, some things are out of your control, but so many things are within your control. And the minute you start making those choices is the minute you can start having a better life and a more interesting life, the kind of life you never imagined was for you. And I think that, that's what Get Busy Living is about, right? It's like, I think that probably you could talk the best on this, but like what you've been talking about Get Busy Living for years. What exactly does it mean to you?
Well, it's funny, the way that the I mean, I'm not the author of the line. My one of my all-time favorite movies, The Shawshank Redemption. The main character of the movie was talking about escaping prison, and his partner is like, I don't want to ruin the movie for you guys that haven't seen Shawshank. Man, that's a
Well, I
shame.
think they had enough years to watch it.
But when and his guy's like, stop frustrating yourself with this impossible feat. You're here, and the life is out there, and forget it. And the main character is like, you're right, I'm in here and it's out there. So either get busy living or get busy dying. And let me tell you, when I was in the dark stages of recovery, and especially when I was first getting out of ICU, and there were days when it felt like prison, and I still feel very, very much a prisoner of this all this dead weight body that I can't move, and it puts so many limitations on my life that I feel like I'm in prison. But I know that I have a choice to either remain a prisoner or get busy living and do something about it. That's all of this is me trying to do something about it. But where I went wrong the first time, and when you have a second lease on life, it gives you a unique ability to really be critical of your first lease on life. And look, I'm not perfect. I've got so many flaws. But one of the things that I can say that if I could do it all over again, I would, and that would be I would bring more people with me. And but that's this. This is my effort to get busy living, meaning get busy, not just be busy, because you be busy, anybody can be busy doing other people's jobs for them, and it's not just get busy like busy work, like doing stuff, because you can do a bunch of bullshit all day long and not get anything. And it's not just getting busy living, like remaining alive, because how many of us are alive but ain't really living? Get busy living. And I would love to have Scooty Wells chime in on this, man. Swells, if you're game, man, we'll bring you in because his version of what it means to get busy living inspired me, and so to go out to get, meaning go after, busy meaning the way you want to choose your spend your time, living meaning make that what you're doing with your life. Don't just be alive, busy doing shit, but go get what you want out of this life, and this me going and getting what I want out of this life is trying to first of all throw the party for the people that chipped in after I made that vow on Facebook Live to 20,000 people. So I owe the party, and that's my word, and I'm a man of my word. So that's my number one goal. But also to help other people that need help, like I need help. So to show you that have helped me how much I appreciate it, that I'm going to do unto others what you have done unto me. And then, to also help others come on these adventures with me so that it's not just me that's being helped, and it's not just other people that have suffered tragedy that are being helped, but it's those of you that are willing to help are getting helped. Because I've said it before in the lead up, to the podcast launch and in the early stages of this, what we're calling the preseason, that what I hope to become the theme of this podcast is generosity, and gratitude. And and when you have felt the joy of giving someone a gift that they would not have been able to get on their own, when you felt the joy of helping somebody do something that they couldn't have done for themselves, there's no greater joy, other than maybe bringing a life into this planet. And if you're a parent, you know what I mean by that. But so I'm really hoping that with this, with remaining consistent with this message, and remaining consistent with trying to beat the streak, and remaining consistent with accepting nominations. We've already got a couple people that that we're going to bring to the public eye once the season started about who we're going to start helping. By doing all this via this podcast, because we could do all of this without a podcast, right?
It's true. Yes.
Do all of this with the podcast, with the idea of showing other people what we're doing, because there's joy coming out of this, and it's not selfish joy. If anybody else that wants to join in is welcome to join in and feel the same types of joys that we're going to feel from all the people that we're going to help. And that stadium is going to be full of people that would not have been able to walk with help. There's going to be full of people that would not have gotten busy living if we hadn't been there to encourage them.
Right. And, I think that it's also important to note that, as we are helping people with their physical bodies with stem cell treatments, that we also want to help our viewers with their own physical bodies and their motivation to get themselves right and healthy. And but it's something that we work on constantly ourselves. We're no experts and perfect health. What health? What do you want to call it? Gurus, right? Are you a perfect health guru, Swede?
Absolutely not. I can tell you what not to do in general, how to and all that, man. I'm learning how to take care of my body better, but it's definitely not an easy task. It's very challenging, as you guys know. I attempted to go 30 days of raw vegan eating,
Oh yeah, you know, you didn't even do. You never do it. You never do it.
Am I supposed to do that? I kind of like when you say.
I mean, you just never leave space for it. You just launch right in there. Tell us about your 30-day vegan challenge.
For a reason. It's very challenging. It's challenging when you lose sight of why you're doing it, and it's easy to lose sight of why you're doing it if you're heavily distracted and focused on other things. And those are just excuses. The truth is that when you know why you're doing it and you remain focused, it's not that hard. I've done it before. But this most recent effort, I did good for the first week, and then I had a bout with a day or two of depression and having some seriously mixed emotions that took me away from the podcast and away from my school and away from everything, and just kind of put me, in a place that I think we've probably all been. We all have our own versions of the shadows, and so that caused me to break down and go back to the addictions that I suffer that are attachments to food. And whether you want to call it an addiction or not, we all have our favorite foods, and we do have chemical aversions to them. Excuse me.
Yes, I can hear it in your voice. Um, yeah, I mean, no one's perfect, but the thing is that the intention was there to make good choices. And I mean, I don't actually believe that you actually failed the challenge, even though there were times where you fell off of it.
Not at all. Um, and that's why I want to encourage anyone that's a part of this now or in the future to join us in our future challenge, because they are a challenge. And every time I made the decision, um, give myself food that is medicine as opposed to food that is poison, I was successful. And so during the process of, you know, accepting that challenge, I had failures, but the challenge itself wasn't a failure because I'm better off than had I been not doing it at all. One of my favorite quotes about failure came from Michael Jordan, and he talks about the fact that he had like, I don't know how many hundreds of game-winning shots that he has hit in his life. He's known for being a clutch player, and he's like, the reason that I've been successful at hitting those shots is because I've missed so many other shots, you know and so that, every time you take a shot you might miss, that can be considered a failure. And if you view failure that way, it's probably a healthier view. There's no finality in failure unless you quit, and if as long as you didn't quit, you didn't fail, right? So
Right.
and so although I could have done better, and I intend to do better, I will be getting test results back, and I will be honest about where I started, what I did in the process that led to these test results. And then when I do another challenge in January, which I'm hoping to align that with the Chet challenge, and we're gonna have Chet on as a guest. You want to talk a little bit about Chet's challenge?
Oh, I didn't know if we were ready to talk about that, but this is not something the Get Busy Living project puts on, but this is something that we've both been a part of for a few years now. And it's put on by our friend Chet from high school. And if you're watching this and you don't know, Swede and I went to high school together. And we have known each other a very long time. But we have also known Chet for a very long time. Where did you meet him?
Basketball court at Vincent.
When?
When
Oh, okay.
I was probably 10th grade. I think he might have been a freshman. Might have been. I think Chet was a year behind us, so I think he might have been a
Yeah.
sophomore.
Yeah, so we've known Chet a long time. I've known him since middle school. And he created this 100-mile challenge that starts in January every year. And the goal is to run 100 miles in the month of January. You can walk it, but you cannot bike it and you cannot swim it. You have to run or walk. And both Swede and I have participated in this 100-mile challenge before. It took me a couple years of aiming for it and missing before I actually had my first successful year, which I believe was last year. And I did my 100 miles in 1 month. Now, it's not easy, is it?
No, because if you think about it, you said you can walk it. Yeah, you can, but you probably run out of time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, because to walk
day.
3 miles takes quite a long time.
Yeah, think about it, 25. So if you do 5 miles a day, you got to do that 20 times. 20 out of 30 days in a month. Well, there's 31 days in January, but none of us doing shit on the first. Just kidding.
And you know that most of us, when we look at the 100-mile challenge, we go, well, there's 30 days. I have to do 3.3 miles, 3.3333 miles. And you look at it that way, you're not going to make it, because there's always going to be a day where you get sidetracked or you can't go, and then you have to make it up. So you have to really aim high. You have to
You're
go
not
at it hard.
you take it if you wanted to do 3.3 because it's less miles per day, if the less miles per day was part of your motive, you ain't doing 6.6. You miss a day, you're screwed. So that's why
It's true.
I mind to do 25 or to do 5 miles a day 4 times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Excuse me, 5 miles a day for 20 days. And so basically that's 5 miles a day, 4 days a week. That how it
Yeah.
works?
Oh,
5 days a week.
I can't do math when we're live because my brain won't go there. It's really weird. I'm really good at math, but if I'm live, forget it. There's no math.
5 miles a day, 5 days a week. That's 25 miles each week, and that's 25
Okay.
times. That's 100.
Yeah, that's what you need to aim for. But you know what?
Like,
Even just participating, it changes your life. If you're going from sedentary or like just mildly active, it changes your life to try to aim for this, to see what other people are doing and be part of the community. So, we should look up what the Facebook page is so that people can join, and we should post it up here. Because this 100-mile challenge inspired us both. I I started running again because of it, and I hadn't really run in a very long time. And even though I don't usually continue running after the 100-mile challenge, I run that 100-mile challenge. And it really brings me to a different level of physicality.
you know
But
the
go ahead.
no, you go.
I was just going to say, but, obviously you're not running it in January. So if you want to explain how you're going to participate this year, that would be cool.
Yeah, so like I said, the way that I pulled it off was I did 5 miles a day, 5 days a week, and it took me about an hour to run 5 miles. I'll be honest, I was in much better shape at that point in my life than I am now. So if I were to try to raise my heart rate for 1 hour, 5 days a week, that would be the equivalent of what I was doing back then. So that's going to be my goal. So that although I may not be doing the running, I'll be doing the heart, which is really the important part of cardiovascular work. So I'll be doing you know, raising my heart rate. Probably going to be weightlifting. I can do biking. I can do swimming. So my goal is not only am I going to participate in that 100-mile challenge, which to me is just going to be basically 25 days of 1 hour a day.
Mm-hmm.
um, but I'm also going to do, so I've got Mel, it looks like, I love what Kelly called it, Veganuary. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a lot on our plate for January.
Yeah,
Eating better and running 100 miles. Now, I want to say something about like these are pretty high goals, right? I think that it's a good thing to try for these goals and also not be like super hard on yourself if you miss a day or you seem to be falling behind or you eat chicken wings at not the Super Bowl, but whatever it is, a playoff game. To not be super hard on yourself if you're not going to make the goal, you're still going to be better off for trying for it. Oh, what's happening here? Well, do we have okay? I'm gonna let you figure this out. He's switching back to his normal setup. But I think that it's worth a try. What's it gonna hurt? Suppose you get 2 days of running in before you're like, this is not for me. Well, that's still 2 days that you ran. And who knows what that will do for you and your mindset. Maybe you'll start walking. You
I
never
love that
know.
I love that you mentioned mindset. The thing is that until you have attempted to do something like this, and this is a very challenging thing, but it's very simple, right? So it's only complicated if you complicate it. Running 5 miles is challenging. Doing it 5 days in 1 week is challenging. And then doing that for 4 weeks straight is challenging. And so all during that time that you're attempting to do it, you're succeeding. So even in the end, if you don't make the 100 miles, the effort that you put in, the time that you spent running the ideas through your head counts for something. And that's why I love the idea of doing Chet, or doing Chet's challenge, to promote that for those of you that aren't interested in the veganism, the veganuary challenge. For those of you that are, I've already got a few that are interested. And so when it's time to announce how we're going to keep that organized, I'll let you guys know where the community is going to be gathering. But doing these things are just other exercises for your brain that can start to get you to soften up the idea of change, not because there's something wrong with you, but because nobody's perfect. And that getting busy living means, that you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others, but so that you can take care of others. So look out for yourself first. Number one, your health. So we want to help people. The Get Busy Living Project, we want to help them with their physical health so that they can help others. Excuse me.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this link for this Facebook group for Chet's 13th annual 100-mile challenge, it has 609 members. And you know what? This is actually what I find so cool about this challenge. With 609 members of that page, I'd say maybe like a quarter of them are actually participating, right? But people show up with words of encouragement. People show up with pictures of where they've been running, or whether they didn't make it, or if they, twisted their ankle like I did a couple of years ago and didn't make the challenge, but I still participated in the community. And I really just think this is such a cool idea. And for it to be on its 13th year and everybody looking so forward to it, I just think it's a really amazing project. I'd be really happy to talk about this throughout the entire month of January and actually get back to running, because I feel like I've been in a rut lately. I just ride the bike. And I need to switch things up. So I'm looking forward to it. And I used to be really jaded. I used to be jaded about a lot of things. And I don't know why. I don't know, a jerk. But I was jaded about a lot of things. And I'd be, no. And I used to be that way about New Year's resolutions. And I used to look down my nose at this idea of, why do you need the new year to come? To make this promise to yourself? Why don't you just start immediately, But then I realized, sometimes people need that feeling of a fresh start. And that's what the new year feels like. When January comes and you clear out those Christmas decorations and it just feels like fresh and clean, right? And it just does naturally. And if you need that in order to kickstart the change that you want to make in your life, then so be it. And who am I to be like, because I do that. And I'm starting to realize that about myself. I'm trying to grow up.
Well, the fact that you are aware of that about yourself, and the fact that you have identified that about yourself, and that you just so publicly declared that you want to improve that about yourself, is that's experience and wisdom and knowledge. When those things, as you grow older and you start to realize, why was I so stuck in my way about this certain thing? Why did I feel such a way? And the older we get, the more experience we have, the more we soften our lines on how we feel about things. Because when you're young, you want to have an identity, you want to have a stance, you want to have a position, you want to be, unique, or you want to be yourself, and you want to be authentic. And so you think that taking positions on certain things, does that for you. And it does on a lot of things. I would not ever encourage anyone to compromise their morals, but at the same time, compromise is important. And change is important, and that's really what I'm hoping that this podcast can do for people. Is after I don't expect after just what are we like around 12 weeks or something of this. I don't expect people to be trading in their toys for assets that they can use towards getting busy living more. But after several years of this, or several more months of this, I hope that it does catch. And I hope that the more times you, D-Rex, get busy living with me and lead by example. for example, just talk about what it took for you to actually come on this, this vacation and this epic adventure with us. I mean, it wasn't like it just happened to you. You had to deliberately make this happen.
Oh
You
man, did I
got
have
busy.
to I had to deliberately get on a lot of different airplanes and sleep on the floor in Vegas next to some ketchup smashed into the carpet and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, yeah, it took a lot of deliberate living to get there. And then once I was there, because I want to actually back up and like you said, taking positions on things. It's something I'm trying to do less of as I get older. And on this trip, I was really trying to take like no position at all. I'm trying to refrain from judgment on what makes people tick, you know? Um, for some people, it's a whole lot of something that I don't do. And I'm not going to say, hey, you shouldn't do that thing. I'm just going to see that person for who they are. And I'm just going to love them for who they are, you know? And that's something I'm really like, I did that all throughout the trip. Everybody I met, I loved in their own unique ways, except for one. And I'm not going to say who it was.
It's
It's
okay.
just going to
Everybody
have to
knows it
be,
was me.
it's just going to have to be a mystery that never gets solved. But I really am trying to refrain from judgment. And that's actually part of my getting busy living, because the less I do not judge others and the more I just listen, the more I get to deeply know other people. And to me, that's the human connections are the best way to get busy living. There's really nothing else besides connecting with other human beings. What is this life besides connecting with others, you know?
Yeah, that's such a beautiful way of putting it. And when the momentum picks up, and when we've got poster children of people that we're helping with the stem cell cause, and we've got an army of people that are wearing the t-shirts from month number 11, wherever that might turn out being, and we've got a library of content online that you can look back on and see. And when people come looking at us for credibility, and they see that not only have we come so far from where we were deliberately with the intentions of living a purposeful life, then they can see that if we can do it, and if the people that we've helped have been willing to change in order to make that kind of progress, that I think that we're really onto something here, and when you are willing to, you downplay how much intentional, deliberate, purposeful decisions you've made since I bought my car.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you so many others would have just said, "Oh, good on you," and let life happen to me and let me go on being deliberate. But you, as also an aggressive person that chases after their dreams, were willing to help me, pursue mine. And then in that, saw that we actually had similar, views, and we were walking, parallel paths, if you will, and so, you've made a lot of decisions. I mean, you know, I think you're a
Yeah.
fine example of someone that may not have been so open to what the world has to offer, as someone that's been in the same home for 2 decades, but now, just in a matter of a couple months, you've been to a Michael Franti concert with me,
Mm-hmm.
and you've watched me get the Steelers their first win of the season by blocking that kick with my Jedi mind tricks. And now you've been to the world's most beautiful beach. These are
It's
all
true.
things that don't happen to people that are not intentional and deliberate and trying to live purposeful lives.
That's true. And you have to also make that intentional choice to not live in your comfort zone. That's really the key, is you have to just stop accepting comfort as living, because that's kind of the opposite. You have to get uncomfortable to really live. You have to get into an uncomfortable space to get to a new level.
Absolutely. And we're going to make it easy on you. When we start bringing these stories to you, and you start to see that there are lives out there that can be touched by the stem cells and the power of stem cells and regenerative medicine, and you see the spirit of these children that is unbreakable, and then you see how we're able to help them, um, achieve more and gain abilities. It's amazing what stem cells can do. Then I think it will cause you to reflect in a positive light. And by you, I'm speaking to the entire audience, the entire
Mhm.
potential audience, anyone that might see this now or forever into eternity. When you start to see, children that have unbreakable spirits, coming out from under their shells and having experiences, the child in you will want to come out. And you'll remember that when you were a kid, you had dreams. And, you might realize that even though you feel old because, 500 years ago, 40 was you're dying soon. But now with modern medicine, especially when we consider stem cells, 40 means you're just starting to figure life out. Right. And
Yes,
so,
for a
you
lot of
know,
people.
yeah, and as time goes on with this podcast and the community that we're building here, there's going to be a lot of powerful stories that come out of this, and a lot of those powerful stories are going to go on to touch other lives. I really feel like Rod, who is my nonprofit consultant, when he told me that, he's like, Sweden, usually I have to talk people up and get them to think bigger when they have a nonprofit. Most people want to help a couple dogs not have rabies, or want to want to put a couple meals in people's tummies on Thanksgiving. And he's like, and I have to tell them that if they can do one puppy and they just figure out a way that's scalable, and they can do 1 million puppies. And he's like, but in your case, he's like, if you can, what you're talking about is already has potential for worldwide impact. And so I have no doubt that as this community grows and that impact starts to happen, it's going to start to grow exponentially. And I want to give a shout out to Boogie. You missed it earlier, Bug. We were talking about all my buddies with awesome nicknames.
Oh, you know what? You mentioned something about wearing the t-shirts, and what I'd really like to know from anybody who's here is what kind of merch do you want? Because we're getting this going. Like, you want a t-shirt, you want a hat, you want a headband, so you can be like Swede. Who doesn't want to be like Swede?
Hell yeah.
I don't actually want a headband, but I think I want a hat.
Get busy living.
So if you have an idea about what you want, you better pipe up now, because I'm going to start on this mission, because we want to get the word out, because it's just going to feel great to help all these people. And the more we let people know about this podcast, the more people we're going to get on board with all of this Getting Busy Living, and the more people are going to help all these people get their stem cell transplants. I mean, can you even imagine how good that's going to feel just by participating in this podcast? It's going to happen.
Just by participating in this podcast, your viewership can have the potential to grow into more viewership and more attention and more influence. And the more the more influence we gain, the more lives we're going to be able to help. Once I start bringing the experts on a regular basis and showing you guys the science behind stem cells, you're going to understand why I'm so confident that it can help me, and why I'm so excited about having the ability to help so many others. This thing is, I'm telling you, the impact that we are going to make with this project cannot be exaggerated. It is serious business.
And just you hanging around with us on this podcast, it really does help. I mean, you might wonder, like, how can that make an impact? But every little thing comes together to make an impact. And I'm sure that you all have heard about the butterfly effect. It's like one butterfly's wings can eventually create a hurricane, and it really is true. And sometimes you can't see how you've affected others, but it has happened. And not to puff myself up, but people have told me in the past where it's like, that one thing you did for me changed my mind on whatever. So I mean, it goes
Hello,
to
I'm one of them.
oh. What was that?
Well, this live streaming podcast, it was
Oh,
completely your
okay.
idea.
Oh, was it completely? I don't feel like it was. But
100% lyric recommended podcasting. And when I told you about it, you nearly shrieked. You're like, oh my God, yes. But you can't just do podcasting. You have to do live streaming. Everybody's looking at videos now. I remember the excitement in your voice
okay.
when you said it.
Well, I'll accept that. But you said one thing to me that changed my life, when you came through and started putting the bug in my ear about how I should be traveling. It honestly changed my life. When I started traveling and I started seeing the world and I started meeting new people, I realized that I love people. I love meeting new people. I love talking to strangers.
Yeah.
And I even did that in Vegas when, okay, first of all, I need to explain to people on my way to Florida, I had some travel snafus. Travel snafus.
Snafu.
And I ended up in Vegas around 7 p.m. with a warm salad in my lap, exhausted. And Sweet's like, you got to go down to the strip. And I was like, I know I should. I know I should. I don't feel like it, you know? But once I wrapped my head around it, I was like, yeah, I know I should. So when I went down there, I made it my mission to find some other lady who was alone and talk to her and hang out with her. Turns out I couldn't find one, but I found two. And I sat down with them and we sat by a fire and we had a drink and we had a really nice time. And that's something that would have never, ever happened to me if you hadn't said to me years ago that you really need to start traveling. You really should. Like, didn't leave me alone about it. Text me on the phone. Why aren't you traveling? What's stopping you? You know?
Get out that comfort zone. Get out of that comfort zone. And seriously, it's funny you bring up inspiration because that word, since I got injured and I've been putting forth so much effort to beat this injury, is probably the word I hear the most. And I appreciate it. I cannot tell you how much it makes the hair on my neck stand up to think that people, think of me when they're having a hard day and they're like, man, if I think this is hard, and I've already shown footage of that kind of stuff that I've gotten in the past on the podcast in the past. And people tell me about inspiration and I'm very extremely flattered about it. And unfortunately, my story, the true story is that I chased a monkey that stole my Steelers hat onto the roof of a large pavilion and it caved in and I'm now paralyzed. So I have a compelling story as a monkey chaser, but I like to believe that I had a compelling story before that.
I
And
do think so. Yes.
and when I was in the hospital trying to figure out how to wrap my head around the fact that my life had been saved from charity, and my team told me that I should do this Life in a Year of Swedisms book, or that's what it is now. But what they told me back then was you should put your posts all in a collection and offer that in exchange for donations. And so I had done that, and just as a way of giving you guys a little glimpse of what's coming at you when you decide to chip in and get yourselves a copy of the Life in a Year of Swedisms book. What I've done is just for today, and I could do this on any given day. For today, I went to my Facebook memories, and look what I found.
Not me.
So on this
Not me,
day, 13 years ago. So I don't think this is very inspirational. This was the day that I announced to everyone that the bar that I've been running, that is the exact bar that got me into Facebook, had closed down, and that I was no longer, got sold, and I was no longer going to be a part of the bar. So that was December 1st, 2008. So back then, I didn't know how to use Facebook, and I was not used to writing poems. I wrote like maybe 5 in my life, and 3 of them was because I wanted to try to get a girlfriend, and 1 of them was to my daughter. So like seriously, poetry was not something I had a hobby of doing in my life. I didn't even know that I was good at it or I was ever going to have a reputation of being good at it. But you can see here that this isn't anything, fancy. It's nothing special. It's nothing inspirational, except for at the end, I offered to throw a big party.
Can you read it? Because it's actually quite small.
Oh, it says prefers get. So this is back when you had to have your name and then a sentence like Swede, whatever. So it says, I can't tell you. Excuse me.
Yeah, you're having a dry throat day. I actually appreciate you showing up for the podcast today because I know you're a little under the weather. I'm sure people can hear it.
So it says,
long road trip.
Swede prefers games with cards on table. My method to dispel rumor and fable. Be straight up, tell the truth from view on field, not glimpse from both. Oh, okay, so Swede prefers games with cards on table. My method to dispel rumor and fable. Be straight up, tell the truth. From view on the field, not glimpse from the booth. Fact, Labaton is sold. So, in with new, out with old. I appreciate the calls to show you're sad. friends I've made, times we've had. But turn those frowns, dry those eyes. Sure as sun rises and shines, so too will I. And when I do, big party thrown, guest of honor you. I don't really, like I said, I didn't write this stuff to read it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But um, pardon my French, but it's how I like my toast, and it's also just happens to be the kind of fries I like most. It's the way I press my coffee and how I like my onion dips. I'm Swedish, but the best part of French is the way the kisses tickle lips. What was I thinking that day? I don't know. But the point is that so this is over the years. This is getting busy living over the years. This is me coming back from Thailand and America. I saw the Beatles and Motley Crue in LAX. Got me some chicken wings. This is my look. My amazing lifelong Brett Favre like no Cal Ripken Jr. like streak continues. An endless number of plane rides without ever getting lucky enough to sit next to a good looking stranger. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a plane and didn't get to sit next to a hottie. But the point is that, look, here's Jerry. One for you, Swede, doing my pose he was up in the Philippines. This was December 1st, 2017. This was 17 days before I fell. Jerry had just left Bali about 2 months before that and was on his way back, actually. And so was Boogie, actually. So I wanted to show that because these are just, and I don't know that none of this stuff I believe would be in the book of Sweetisms, but this is just an example of the stuff that I've done over the years, that what the book of Sweetisms is going to be about. So,
and I think that you should actually talk for a second about how they can get this, because there's a question here. When is the book being published?
Good question, Book. So the book, so I could just publish it on demand, and there would be no gain in any way, and there'd be no margin. It would just be a book, and there'd be no donations. And then I'm just selling books. So what we did a couple of years ago was we came up with this idea of how to make this book have an impact. And so we came up with this 2,000 pre-sold copies idea. So go to the hswa.org, THEHSWA.org, or gitbizzylivin.com. That's GITBIZZYLIVIN.com. Either one of these websites, you can go to click on reserve a copy. And for $25 or more, you're going to get a copy of the book. That's going to reserve the copy. And then when I get 2,000 reservations, then I'm going to ship the books. Okay. Now let's do the math. 2,000 times 25, that's $50,000. That $50,000 pays for the books to be printed and shipped. It pays for the stem cell treatment that was originally going to be a treatment for me, but is now officially part of the Help Swede Walk Again mission. And then we're going to pull a name out of those first 2,000 reservations. And whoever name we pull out is going to win an all-inclusive, airfare included, 6-night, 7-day adventurous Alaska tour in Alaska with the wolf, Scooty Wells. What does that mean? If we pull your name, we're going to connect you with Scooty Wells, and you and Scooty Wells are going to work out the dates and what you're going to do on this thing. If you're the type of person that doesn't like to get out of the car, then you're probably going to go on a boat ride or something. But if you're the type of person that likes to hunt, he might help you hunt. If you're the type of person that likes to fish, he might help you fish. If you want to hike, if you like trains, planes, automobiles, if you like bears, if you like penguins, if you like salmon, if you like the nature, Scooty Wells is going to take you to Alaska for 6 nights and 7 days and blow your mind. So go to one of those websites, reserve a copy, get yourself in the raffle to win the Adventurous Alaska trip. And what happens is that is only one of the methods of generating revenues that we're trying to generate so that we can start helping people with stem cells and so that we can start helping you guys get busy living with us.
Yeah. And the book itself is going to be a wonderful thing to own and have in my hands, but that trip looks so amazing.
Well,
who wouldn't want a chance to win that? And to hang out with Scooty Wells, that's also a prize in itself.
I was just going to say, Scooty Wells could take you to Skid Row, and traveling with Scott is always a blast, and I'm so glad that you got an opportunity to come to Destin and meet Scott. Do you want to take a minute or two and just reflect a little bit? I'm sure, and inquiring minds want to know. I was told by at least 3 or 4 different people that I have to keep you forever as a part of. So I'm not allowed to go back to Destin unless I bring you.
Well, you
And
can't
so
lose me at all.
I, I have 2 decades of years in between us hanging out. That would beg to differ. So believe me, now that I got a hold of you, I'm hanging on. So what we're going to talk a little bit briefly. I know that we're about out of time here today, but
Well,
talk briefly about.
I'm just gonna very quickly say that he's probably one of the most fun people on the planet. And I'm well aware that the way I look on the podcast here with good lighting is not the way I look in real life. And
Oh my God, get
so
out of here.
when I showed up in Florida, there are several people where I said hi, like I knew them, and they were like, they took a second, they went, doo, 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 and they went, oh, and he was one of them. And I did an entire podcast with him, an entire hour-long podcast with him at one point. But man, he's just a whole lot of fun, and his wife is just amazing, and his kid is the most fun kid I've ever met in my life. So outgoing, like what a family. And I mean, I'm not going to tell a specific Scooty Wells story right now, but you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a really fun and unpredictable leprechaun. And not because he's small or green. He's neither one of those things.
He's neither.
But it's the spirit. It's a leprechaun spirit. The leaping into action.
yeah, exactly. You know,
that's the way he moves.
when he gets on the dance floor, he's got this chug along man dance that that gets a grooving, man.
But yeah, I can't wait to have him on the podcast again, because that guy is a lot of fun. And it was just such a pleasure to be able to go to Destin and meet so many of these faces that I've heard the names forever and just put them together. And now they're my friends. And, I certainly hope to be back.
So speaking of that, let's just talk a little bit about how the streak is going to go from here until then, and then we'll go ahead and sign off. So just so you guys know, we've got a couple special guests coming up this month that are going to talk about the challenges that we're going to be doing, and then we're going to find ourselves month 4. I am going to be with my boy Keyrod at the Pittsburgh Steelers Oakland Raiders game on Christmas Eve. That is epic adventure number 4. And then we will be going up. I'm going to go visit my sisters up in the town I was born in. And then I'm going to go up and hang out with my boy Keyrod. And we are going to come see you for New Year's in Erie. So month 4 the month of December is going to be Pennsylvania trip. And then we're going to do New Year's in Erie, January 1st.
So I got that wrong earlier. When you froze, I said something different, but this is the truth.
Yes, the truth is that the next trip is going to happen in a few weeks, going up to Pennsylvania. So any of you that are or will or have tuned in, you are certainly welcome to figure out a way to make a rendezvous with us in Pittsburgh. In the future, we will be making those rendezvous easy to happen. What up, Jay Calcutt?
Hey, this guy, speaking of leaping into action, this guy leaped into the car and was willing to drive 4 hours with you to pick me up in New Orleans where I wasn't supposed to be. That's a whole different story.
See that, but that's a prime example of the caliber of people that I've been fortunate enough to surround myself with throughout my years. I'm telling you, look at this lineup. I got Schwoy Boy, I got Boogie, I got Scooty Wells, I got Jig and Jay. Like, you want to talk about top notch? Like, these are people that you want in your corner and as a part of your army. And Jay, no, you might not want to tell it, but I'll tell it. So D-Rex got caught up in Vegas and was looking at being stuck there for a couple of days. And the
5 days. They said
the alternative was to get her to New Orleans that night. And so immediate turnaround. So when I left Jay and Schwoy Boy and Brother Doug back at the beach house, and I headed towards Scooty Wells' house to have dinner with him and the fam. And while there, you told me that your plane got canceled. By the time I came back to hang out with Schwoy Boy and Jigga and Brother Doug, I was on my way to New Orleans to pick you up. So let me just tell you, I walk into the bowling alley, and I came up and dapped everybody down. I was kind of sitting there like low energy, just kind of like chewing my fingernail, like, man. And Jay's like, "What up, dog?" I'm like, "No, man, I got to go to New Orleans to get D-Rex." And he's like, "What?" And that's when everybody's like, "What?" And I told the whole crew, I was like, "I got to go to New Orleans. D-Rex got held up, and like, if she doesn't fly there tonight, it's like she might not make it for Thanksgiving." And so, and like, I don't know if I don't know how long it was. If it was 3 minutes or more or less. But after what I'm sure was a seriously brief deliberation, Jay was like, I'll go to New Orleans with you, dog. I know you don't want to go alone, man. I'll go with you. And I was like, man, don't tease me, because I didn't say that I didn't want to go alone. I didn't even hint that it must have been written all over my face. Because and I look over at him, and I could tell by the look on his face that he meant it. And let me tell you about Jigga J Cowcat. He makes his mind up. He is one of the hardest working people I ever met, biggest heart. And that man, you cannot change his mind. And so I knew that even if I didn't want him to go, I could tell by the look in his eye. He was like, I know you want me to go. I'm going. And so that was that, man. So it was decided. He jumped in, and the fact that without a moment's notice, completely spontaneous, was willing to take the time out and do that, what turned out to be a treacherous overnight drive. The spirit of that man. And bro,
yeah.
By bro, I'm talking to Jay. If you're still in there with us, Jigga Jay, thank you, bro. You were so much more than riding shotgun with me. I mean, you helped with your generosity towards the Help Swede Walk Again organization. Through Jay's donation, helped me afford the trip, and so. Leading by example, helping me afford that. And then pulling a power move at Bud and Alley's and covering that tab. I know that tab was $400 minimum. And Jay was like, I got it. Not only did he take our order and like give us expert service, but then, paid for that, And by the way, Jigga Jay, my boy Ray was like, man, you make sure that you let him know next time you come through, man, I got him. So, I appreciate that, Jay, and everybody did, man. That was such a power move, and that's the kind of man he is, man. It always has been. Even when we were 20 years old, man, and he didn't have a pot to piss in, man. He would let you pee on his toes before he'd let you go it out. Like the man he's got a heart. I'm telling you, like I honestly think that he's been a bigger big brother to my brother Doug than I have, man. Like, and that's just because that's how he is, man. He handles business. He takes care of his people. I'd love.
It's funny you said that, because halfway through the trip, I started calling him Dad because I felt like he was in charge. He was the only one in charge. I call him up. Hey, Dad. I need some help.
Yeah, he's always been the voice of reason.
Yes.
You see, check out Shoy Boys. He said,
yeah,
best leprechaun we know. I don't know what he's going to think about being a leprechaun. Well, that reminds me.
He's one of those giant leprechauns.
One point during the after party, I think Melanie and I were talking about how we were talking about juicing, because we were talking about the vegan challenge. We were talking about juicing, and we were talking about how watermelon has anti-inflammatory powers that are kind of somewhat reversible powers towards cardiovascular disease. They can help dilate your arteries, and they're nature's Viagra because of their effects. Well, right when we were talking about that, Scott chimes in and like joins the party, And by the way, and so when I pulled him in and continued talking about it, you say you a lot, just talking about the audience in general, or just talking about people in general. But the way that it probably looked to anyone that was just watching, that might have just chimed in and see Scott on screen. And I think, that's what it was. At one point, I made him big for like this for some reason, and I forgot.
I hate when you do that.
I forgot that I had done it, and like and then Melanie's like I can't remember what she said that got my attention. I was like, oh shit, my bad, man. I wasn't trying to make it look like you need Viagra. And Scott's like, yeah, man, what the hell?
He probably needs it the least of everybody in this entire world. So
he's gonna come at me tomorrow. He's like, dude. He's like, no, I'm a Viagra chomper. No, I'm an impotent leprechaun.
Oh my god. I know we're talking about Scott way too much on this podcast.
Over.
And you know what? Speaking of Scott, I think he needs a t-shirt, because he said he's lying there naked in bed. So somebody get this guy a Get Bizzy Livin t-shirt, please, soon.
Yes. So be on the lookout for that. So we got the Get Bizzy Livin project is going to be Pittsburgh for December. It's going to be Erie for January. It's going to be Flagstaff, the Super Bowl party at Snow Bowl in Flagstaff, Arizona for February, surprise birthday party in March, and then April, the big news, what I wanted to say, and we're going to do another full segment about this. We're going to do another 420 canoe trip in April next year. How am I going to get on the river? I don't know, but I know I got a lot of leprechauns in Florida that are going to help me make it happen. And so other than that, we have tentatively talked about going to Salt Lake City for May. I've got an extremely special set of nuts up there I need to go shine. And his birthday's in May. And perfect example of a community that deserves all kinds of love from the Get Busy Living Project. I know that I've got a lot of supporters in Salt Lake. Darren's family has opened their arms to me, and they were treating me like family long before I got injured. And so I know that when I was in need, that there was a great deal of support that came out of Salt Lake. And so I've just been trying to figure out how can I get up there. Honestly, I've resisted driving up there just over a weekend since I got my car, because I want to give those people that deserve, to have their head hugged off for me, for fair warning. So tentatively, as long as it's okay with Darren and it lines up nicely with the other things that we got, we're looking at Salt Lake City for May, for Darren's birthday. So you can contribute to the Get Busy Living Project by going to one of those websites, the hswa.org or gitbizzylivin.com, and reserving a copy. You can also go to the hswa.org and get on the guest list for the huge party. All you got to do is donate, and you'll be on the guest list. But if you send recurring donations, then you'll stay on the guest list. and also stay tuned. As we work this month towards rolling out our website, we're going to be able to make merchandise available. We want to have t-shirts available for all of those of you that participate in the Get Busy Living Project. We've already got several dozen to give out now. And shit, after this trip to Destin, we've got probably dozen people that can say they've gotten busy living with me and wear the t-shirt, so
we got to get these out. We got to get these out before the next trip. So if you guys have ideas about what kind of merch you want, we're going to get it available and ready for sale.
Just send your ideas to hello@gitbizzylivin.com. And at this time right now, I'm going to take a moment and say, if there's any of you guys, Scooty Wells, Boogie, Schwoy Boy, if anybody wants to join me for the after party, cue up that graphic. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yeah. I actually didn't know if you were going to do that because you weren't feeling well. What do you think? You're going to do it? Because we're kind of doing it right now. It's like 12 minutes after. We're kind of doing it right now.
So yeah, it is after, and but it's not a party until, well, I'm not gonna, we've already gone down that road with you, D-Rex, but so I'm gonna go ahead and shoot up some invites here and see if any of my guys want to join. I would love to get to the point where it's easier to just do it right through this chat box. I don't know. Is there a way to directly
send a link? I don't know. I suppose you could post a link. So let's just let people know what that is. After party is after this show ends, after you see the YouTube outro that we put up with the water, you can stick around and you can hang out with Swede, and it's a lot of fun. And often I stick around for the beginning of it, and I hate to leave, but it's like I'm dying for dinner. But it is a lot of fun, and I always want to stay. So you should check it out. You should stick around. And
the idea, the reason that the after party exists is because I realize that we do have a mission here that we're trying to accomplish. And this live streaming podcast is a method of communicating that mission to the audience. But there is also a lot of me that I want to share, as far as being able to tell anyone that tunes in how much I truly do appreciate the fact that I am alive this day. I know that tomorrow's not promised, and I like to think that I live my first lease on life like tomorrow was not promised. And there was a serious time when tomorrow was not going to show up. And so I want to use this after party as an opportunity to thank all of those of you that want to take a moment to join me here, for us to have an opportunity to interact, so I can really express my gratitude. So with that being said, I want to introduce my man, Boogie Boogie Boogie. What's up, Boogie?
Are we in the after party?
Oh, wait, yeah, let's figure that out. I mean, we're working out here. So I think that, what's up, Boogie?
What's happening?
We are.
So
D-Rex, I don't think I met you last time. I think you were already gone.
I was listening to you guys though, and I wish that I was still there. So hello officially, Boogie.
How's it?
I'm gonna have to get you on my phone now. I'm gonna have to have that list of crazy nicknames.
Exactly. That's a good nickname, and presented by Swede himself.
You know what? You should get Tasha in here. She's a major participant in all of this shenanigans going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Tasha.
Tasha,
Said,
stay
hey,
for the
y'all.
after party.
I just sent her a little invite. So go ahead and stick around, Boog, and I'm just gonna let everybody know that it's important.
It's raining like shit over here in California, and I just stopped at Mod Pizza to get a beer and something to eat. So,
where are you?
cheers. I'm in Turlock, so south of Modesto, California.
Oh, it's raining up there. I'm in LA. It's not raining down here.
Central Valley. Yeah, all this rain that's coming through here is all headed to my house in Reno through the Sierras and bringing a shit ton of snow.
That's a good thing for us all in the Southwest.
Well, Boog, don't chug that beer too much. I don't know how long the after party will happen, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this, and I'm gonna swing back around in case anybody else wants to join us. But always remember, we're all in this together. Whether sunshine or rain, joy without pain. Always remember.
Diana, nice to meet you.
We're all in this.
Oh,
together.
Boogie, stick around, and we're all in this
Am I
together.
hanging
You
out?
stick around, hang out.
But you gotta believe me, ain't nothing coming easy my way. No, I fucking work, but it's fucking work. I fucking work. You can see it when you
It's official. It's official.
Oh, we're back
So
now.
We're in the
working
after
on
party now.
we're working on how to work this transition out, and eventually in the future these podcasts will be trimmed down, repurposed, and the content will be used, for snippets of valuable information whenever we want to relay it. But currently, we're still working out the details. So I love the graphics, so I just want to throw the graphic up there.
Well, we're in the preseason. So anybody else who wants to join us here in the after party, how do you do it? You send them a link over the phone?
Yeah, so if I have their contact information, so if you want to join us, you'll just chime in the comments and let us know that you're interested. And oh, look, Tasha said, "I'm at work, babe." Oh, she calls me babe. Oh, there she is.
How do you know she didn't call me babe?
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey. Look at this. She's calling us from work. She works at a hospital. She's a nurse. This is crazy.
That's my son, D-Rex.
Oh, hey.
That guy.
Oh, what up?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hey, I can't say on.
Hey,
I'm gonna say hey.
you told me that since Andrew was there, that you weren't going to have to work as hard and you'd be able to hang out.
Andrew's been my savior tonight. Let me tell you. Again. Take care of his mama.
Oh, that's so cool.
He's like,
Hey, Tasha.
and he leaves the
Got a
room.
small box from you?
Yeah.
So, Boog, have you met Tasha? Did you guys ever meet in Destin at any point?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think you might have
I don't
already
think so.
bounced out and went to Houston.
Maybe.
Boog, what year did you move to Houston?
Sorry, I'm just finishing up the restaurant here. So I can't hear. I gotta put my ear up to the phone.
What year did you move out of Houston?
That'd be 8 years ago. So count it back.
So 2014. I wasn't sure because I thought you might have crossed paths with Tasha by the time she moved there. Want to say what up to another infamous soldier. Schwoy boy's in the house. What up, Schwoy boy?
It's a family
Hello.
affair.
I know, right? Look at it. See?
Let's unmute him. He's muted. There. Wait, unmute. There you go.
Schwoy boy, what up?
All right,
to the
there we
after
go.
Party.
Amazing.
Hey, so
What a
why
crew.
don't you tell us,
I'm
since you were the one, since you're the witness, D-Rex, why don't you tell us about Schwoy Boy's epic swim?
Oh, I think that has to be on the next podcast. I think
Schwoy Boy,
that deserves its own little segment.
this is true. So
Um,
so come back next week for footage from the Destin trip, and I can't wait to see the footage of this epic swim. So I'm going to give a little bit of tease. Bug, can you hear me? Bug,
he's trying hard.
Schwoy
I
Boy
can hear you. I had you on mute for a second.
Schwoy Boy swam the sound the other day.
No shit.
Yeah, where did he jump from? Right from Harry T's and swam across?
What up, man? I miss you already, guys.
That's a good swim.
Yeah, that's not safe either. So that
Oh, it
wasn't,
ain't safe. It's not safe nor a good swim.
it was ill-advised.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, Swede, you jumped out of Myron's boat, Brian's boat, and any other boat we were in the middle of the harbor at the drunkest point in times you could do it. And you might have pissed off at the boat captain and everybody else probably every time you did it.
And they always let me back on for one more jump.
I think the one thing I'll say is that by the time he made it across, it was sunset. The sun was setting, and all the boats started streaming back in. So he couldn't even really get back right away.
I'm gonna wait.
So what? You got to get a pickup on Noriega Point?
Hi, guys.
He had
I
to
think
swim
he's
back.
frozen. He's frozen.
Bye, Tosh.
Yes, it
Thanks for
was.
tuning in. Thank you.
Hi, Tasha.
Bye, guys.
Good to see you.
Yeah, so we would have to wait for
Kenny, what's up with
Schwoy
your?
to-
Is he
He's frozen. He's frozen. You were frozen earlier. Did you? You froze twice today, and I'd had to just keep talking.
Yeah. On my
kinda
end, all
crazy.
it did is it just went blank, like it was reading.
Yeah, you were frozen, and I just had to keep talking about stuff I didn't really know about.
Jiggy J said
So-
the link's not working on my end. I'll show up next time. That's cool, Jay. But just so you know, if you have an iPhone, you have to use Safari. You have
Yes,
to
that's
copy the
right.
link and post it in
Mm.
Safari. Oh, Schwoy Boy's back.
Oh. Yeah, I think that definitely we have to make sure that all the characters that we were interacting with on the trip show up for the after party next week. That's for sure.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Man, there was a handful. I don't know how I think we can get up to 10 people on screen at one time with the sophomore, which is pretty legit, you know. That's not
Well, right now I'm on dinner patrol, and hopefully Kenny's phone fires back up. And good to see you, Boogie. I'm gonna
Hey, nice meeting you.
I'm gonna go grab some dinner. It was
All right,
wonderful to meet
eat
you.
good.
Hell yeah. All right, D-Rex. Well, thank you very much, man. We'll be in touch. Love you. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank
Love
you for helping me
too.
get busy living last month.
Bye.
Much love, Jigga J. So, Schwoy Boy, I don't know. I heard your voice. Can you hear me? And your camera's frozen. Can you speak up? Is that you, Boog, or is that him?
What's that?
I'm trying to tell if Kenny's camera was frozen, but I could hear his voice, but now I guess that was you.
Oh, so I'm getting my truck. I'm driving back to my hotel.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for chiming in, man. I appreciate your support of my cause. Much love, and I'll be seeing you real soon, brother.
All right, brother. Love you.
Love you too. And then there was just me. And I know that this is just the beginning, and I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. I'm telling you, soon you'll be meeting the faces of the souls that really need the stem cells even more than I do. And soon you'll be able to see how serious we are. Right now, we're just having fun, making videos on YouTube. But soon enough, we're going to be really employing all the techniques and tactics that are necessary to start saving lives. I know there are millions upon millions of people out there that can benefit from this change. And so the mission of the Get Busy Livin Project, the Get Busy Livin Project is about throwing that party for you guys. And it's just a marketing aspect of the Help Swede Walk Again organization. So to communicate our message to you, to keep you entertained, to keep you coming back, so that you can see that with your viewership and your support, we're going to turn that collective energy into help. And the mission of the Help Swede Walk Again organization is to change the legislature that is in place now that's stopping people from receiving preventative medicine treatments that could really help them. So I know that as time goes on, this is going to grow, and I hope that you guys will continue to support us. Come back next week. We got another guest coming at you next week. We're going to show you some footage from month 3, talk more about month 4. Without further ado, I hope you guys know it's a great day to be alive. Hell yeah.